Plus, having Mono Reaver also, might have been key on getting a Mech cast
Mm.
off. So again, really just utilizing Cybernetic to its absolute maximum there, and I think that was probably about as good a Cyber game as you can see.
Well, we talked about how important it was to stop the Gangplank on the other side from ulting, and something like Mana Reaver is pretty crucial in avoiding that, avoiding that ultimate from getting cast.
Yeah, I think Sox played that one well too by making the Infiltrator Gangplank to try to avoid that also. So again, there's just really skill on both sides. It
Right.
just so happened that hitting that Aurelia 3 and having those 3 Giant Slayers, I think, made the difference. But this also just shows how narrow that skill gap is, right? Like they're both just making tiny micro decisions that are changing the outcome of this game for the rest, down the road.
In that last fight, did GP get his ult off?
He did not.
Nope.
Yeah, maybe honestly the infiltrator buff might have doomed the GP just because the Vayne gets to focus on him a little earlier.
It's hard to say, right? Because the Vayne could focus him, otherwise the Aurelia jumps on him, and here we go again. Game number 2 on board with Kyun.
Sox has the
And,
bow, but he's marked. Now people might
Yep.
contest him.
He even calls out, me slash. Sorry about last game. Trying to get his reputation back.
Sorry,
So.
doesn't cut it, mister.
He's been exposed though, like Becca said, known pivoter now.
Yep.
Nobody's gonna believe this guy at this point. Well, it's a no Galaxy, so we've got a bit of a straight up game this time.
Yeah, a lot of the higher level players often feel most comfortable in this. There's a lot less things to sort of, change their plan and mix it up. So it'll be interesting to see how they all do in what is probably for a lot of them their most comfortable Galaxy.
Yeah. It's the one with the least sort of factors to consider,
Yep. I also gotta say, Kyun's probably pretty proud with that little scores 1 in the top left corner there.
Oh, that's gotta feel great. Yeah. In a match like this, a lot of money on the line. The spots at the global championships on the line. It's huge to get a first place. You're well over halfway to that 16 points you need to, put yourself in the position to take the first and the win.
Exactly.
Yeah, and this is why I kind of have Kyun as my pick to win it, because he's just so good at getting firsts in particular, and I don't really know why that is. I think it's partially with the comps he plays. He's good at mid-maxing his board throughout the game. Really good at capitalizing on loss streaks. He's just kind of like a total package player.
Oh.
Wow, and how about a free Ziggs too? But yeah, I think he could. I think he could definitely take it. We'll see.
That shop is the bomb.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh,
Cut the podcast, please.
I can't criticize.
Oh no, I can't.
No. See, just wait till this whole pandemic thing is over and you get to be like in front of a crowd and you say something like that, and then you get booed by thousands of people at the same time. It's the best feeling. Just wait.
Oh, is he gonna buy? Wow, Shake. Okay, so Shaco and Ash.
Yeah.
Oh, Kyun has a lot of money.
Yeah, getting 2-3 drops from there definitely helped.
Mm-hmm.
The Ziggs 2 is so good early on. One of the best 2-star 1 costs to, get a strong board going early.
Yep.
Yeah, Vanguard makes sense.
The items are a little rough because you're looking at like a red buff, which he's nowhere near running a blaster,
Right.
or an early Morello, which is a bit too committal at this point. So it'll be interesting to see if he just spreads those out or if he just kind of uses the components for, board strength.
I would think he would spread it out, but maybe he's just okay. Well, I think Kyun does like loose streaking, so maybe he doesn't use it and just waits. He's a greedy player for sure.
Yeah, that would certainly match what he did last game to try to get those optimal items.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's pretty typical NA as well to just kind of value that economy and efficiency and greediness over all else.
I was gonna say greedy Americans, but I realized Kyun is Canadian.
Yeah, it's a North American TFT style.
Yeah, definitely.
That Ziggs bomb. Oh, this is gonna be close.
Oh, Mord Shield is pretty
good.
good.
Mord Shield got it.
Yep. Mord has become one of my favorite early game units. That shield is insane. It's so strong.
Yeah, Ziggs is so good early just because everyone's usually trying to run that 2 Vanguard, and having those bombs to tear through that Vanguard front line is just so advantageous.
Right.
So I have a side question for Mort. How do you feel when people say Mort thugged?
I gotta say, being known for bad luck was not on my top list of things to be known for. But, it is what it is.
Oh yeah, Keen's definitely trying to lose streak.
When you were growing up,
Oh.
like in grade school, they asked the kids, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I'm sure you were sitting there saying like, I want to be known as being like the equivalent of a villain from an anime and also bad luck.
Yeah, perfect.
The Harbinger.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think, Becca, you were right, though, that Keelan wanting to lose streak. I mean, throwing the Ziggs on the front line was like a pretty giant white flag of like, please let me lost streak. Please let me get gold.
The
getting his
the crucial round? Oh, is it a Candyland?
I mean, do you take 6 poppies here? I feel like you have to.
So.
You can sell it back. You can sell it back for full price. I don't think he's gonna buy it, but like because it's a 1 cost, you're not really penalized for it, I guess.
Passing up on a 3-star like that is crazy to me.
It's just 3-star Poppy just doesn't seem super strong these days,
Sure, but if the game's gonna hand it to you,
yeah.
Honestly, it feels like
Alright.
Keen could have win streaked with all the upgrades he got this game.
I was kind of thinking that too. I think you're right. I think he had a chance to win streak, but he didn't share our confidence apparently in that.
Well, I guess because he lost the first round, it's hard to go for it.
There's that too.
I will also call out Sox is at 100 health again. So for somebody who wants those bows and is trying to hit those Slash Bros items, it'll be interesting to see if that again pans out or if he ends up having to pivot again.
There could be a Mort Dog carousel with all bows. Who knows? Oh.
He does this though. Like he was doing the same thing yesterday where he was forcing Slash Bros, but he was still win streaking. Polt grabs the bow, so that's one that's definitely not going in mismatched Sox favor. I wonder what Polt's building actually. I wonder if he's going Slash Bros if he's grabbing that bow. We'll find out soon, but
what's interesting to me is Kyun took the tier. And I'm trying to figure out where he's going with the tier and the vanguards.
Mech.
Because is it Mech? Just
because
Mech?
he has the Morello and the probably.
Just Victor items. Okay.
Yeah.
Victor items, but you can also do that Hand of Justice on the Mech too, which is really good right now, I suppose. So.
Yeah. I was gonna say because we haven't seen a lot of Vanguard Mystics, so I would have been shocked.
Yeah. Well, let's see what Polt is up to right now. Oh, he's like, I saw this Giant Slayer Vayne thing work pretty well last game. So he's gonna give it a try here.
Oh, he uses W to bring his units back.
Yeah, he's a player that definitely is used to using only keyboard hotkeys to play at like a blisteringly fast APM. He's got
I don't understand what are hotkeys. It's all about the mouse.
They're like,
oh, you are such a boomer, my friend.
Player, oh no. He's like, why aren't they using a joystick?
Yeah. It's a pretty strong board though for Polt. Level 5, 2 sniper, 3 cybernetic.
Totally.
Pretty strong board. I'd expect him to win this. Although it's interesting to see him be so aggressive while also at 88 health.
Well, this is Polt.
True.
He knows nothing but aggression. He's like, if I have more than 2 gold in the bank, then I'm doing it wrong.
I'm excited. I don't want to curse him, but I have a good feeling about this game.
He's a good player and he gets consistent results as as indicated by him making it not only this far but just making it into the qualifiers event through his ladder score. But when it comes to first places, if you look at his games, he doesn't end up taking I think as many firsts, and I haven't done like a deep statistical dive on Polt's results, but it seems the eye test kind of indicates that he doesn't get as many firsts as some other players, which in this tournament format for today specifically could be a little bit tricky because he could get to 16 points and then struggle to hit that first.
So something I want to call out that Polt did really well here, by the way, is he used the scoreboard at the top to remember who he'd already faced, scouted the other people that he hadn't faced, one of which was Oboe, and planned around that as best he could, which again just shows some really good top-level play. Unfortunately, he did match up against Oboe, who has a Jinx with red buff already at 2-5, so oof.
That's when you kind of comfort yourself and say, hey, I found an Irelia in the shop. But you also say that, hey, I didn't take as bad of a loss as I could have,
Yep.
Yeah,
so,
I remember.
Go ahead.
I remember Polt was I was watching his stream and he was just talking about what makes me different from these other players if I'm gonna play exactly the same way they do. If I'm gonna roll exactly the same time that they do, what makes me better? And I want like, and he just wants to be better than what people think is good. That really stood out to me. Shows his personality as a player and his competitive nature.
I think that's a great mentality to have too.
Yeah.
Because again, if everyone plays the game the same way, it gets fairly solved. And we saw that somewhat early on in TFT competitive, where everyone was like, "You must play this way," and because you must play this way, certain people will always win. But as people started to challenge that meta, we've seen a bunch of different styles come up, and that's been really healthy to see.
So in Polt's pro gaming career past, which is extensive, he was the top player, one of the top players in other games in his history. And the two things that he was really known for, back when I casted him 10 years ago now, was that his fundamentals were extremely tight, and he also had one of the best abilities at adapting mid game to what his opponent is doing and outsmarting them on the fly. And
Hmm.
I feel like I'm seeing some of that in his TFT style as well, where he just has very solid fundamentals about knowing where to put something on a board and like, what comps are going to be the strongest in what moments, but then also really good at like keeping track of his lobby and reacting appropriately.
Interestingly enough, by the
Yeah.
way, Mismatched Socks had 4 infiltrators that game, but the power of Vayne being able to drop the aggro,
Yeah.
Polt was still able to win that one.
Right. So if you're curious about what game that was StarCraft 2 that he was one of the best players in the world at. And and I always tell the story because it amazes me that at the same time he was one of the top players in that game, he was also going to one of the most prestigious universities in Seoul at the same time. So he had like that entire workload, and he was also like that good at StarCraft. So I'm so happy to see him in TFT because he's just been one of my favorite gamers in the last 10 years. I'm a bit of
So,
a fanboy.
gonna call out that Polt threw in a Darius to get Mono Reaver going, which is a lot earlier than we often see a lot of players even consider it. But it can make a big difference in some of these early fights, delaying those casts.
It's also
Especially,
perfect because he has the
Mhm.
Jason as well, so he might get the extra gold with the Space Pirates. I love yeah.
yeah, I think a lot of people do that, and I always find that one to be a little tricky because it's like, how often are they actually going to get kills when you've itemized everything else? That
You know,
feels a little bit more like I'm just trying to build the trait web.
yeah, but then
Um,
you just get that little extra boost if you happen to get lucky. And
yeah,
honestly, I feel like Darius 1 performs decently well
Yeah.
if he happens to get his ult off.
agreed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
surprisingly well, I guess.
yeah. If his chain starts going, he does
Mhm.
a lot of damage, and even if it's just like 2 or 3 bounces, that's probably going to swing the fight your way.
Yeah.
I've been putting in the early Darius a lot in my cybernetics games lately, and the thing I love about it is that it prevents protectors from casting and getting that shield sometimes, and that can mean the difference in the mid game once in a while. So it's just nice to be able to do that a little bit of ability denying sometimes.
So interestingly to call out, you mentioned Kyun was probably going to go Mech. He's definitely got the Rumble on his board,
Mhm.
but he's also running the Vanguards and has the Ziggs items ready just in case. So
True.
I feel like he's at least being flexible to the option if Mech never delivers,
Mhm.
which I think is much better than just hard forcing Mech and then blaming the game if it doesn't go your way. So
Hmm.
Yeah, but we've also seen Kyun pull off some really crazy mech forces. So I'm kind of am excited for him to stay
Kind of
on
known
brand.
for it.
Yeah, his
Yeah,
brand.
it's true. It is on brand for Kiyun to be playing mech today.
this game is a lot closer than the last one too. No one's win streaking. Lowest person's only at 67. Um,
Mhm. It's good to see Obo having a little bit better of a game since he did, unfortunately, top 8 like really fast in game number 1. Seems to be a little bit stronger this time around. We're going to go check out Mismatch Sox's board. 4 infiltrators. All right, this is kind of interesting. Infiltrator Rebel start.
That is
so
interesting because he has the infiltrators, but he's still backlining. And I know a lot of people like to put the non-infiltrator units a little closer to the front so that the infiltrators don't get targeted instantly. So I'm kind of intrigued by the way he's positioning his infiltrators.
Well, certainly he's built the items now, so I think it's pretty crystal clear. Building that Titan's Resolve is a giant flag of I'm building mech.
Oh, yeah.
So We have another Mech player coming out, so a lot of people contesting this comp. So we'll see how that pays off.
You know, I feel like Mech is in a state now where you can have like 2 people playing it, and it's not quite the like let's hold hands to 7 and 8 that it used to be when people played Mech. But you just have to be, I think, like better about playing it now, as far as like what side synergies you include, you know, how you position. That's going to kind of define who the better Mech player in the lobby is going to be, rather than just like, you know, who hits the Fizz 2 first or something.
Yeah, I think this patch did a really good job of balancing some of the smaller synergies, so like 2 Sorks or some of the units, so that you can play flexibly. So that if you have like a solid front line, you can play 2 carries of one trade and 2 of another.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's really bringing in that like set 2 flexibility that used to be there in set 2. It came back a little this patch.
Yeah, I can see that. I wonder if he went Mech because he hit that early Fizz, because we saw him run 4 Infiltrator pretty early, and so I wonder if that just pushed him in the direction of, okay, I guess I'm going Mech.
That makes sense. It's kind of a good job of playing what the game's giving you. Grand Vice with the Protector Sorcerers, he's got that fairly high damage Syndra, but the first cast is going to be a little bit slow because he doesn't have that blue buff. He's got the Shojins instead, and it looks like that's going to cost him this time.
Yeah, I think it's a little risky to lock the items like Sox did, though, if he doesn't find that Annie.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. I did not expect him to turn that one. Wow. All right, well, we take those.
You could definitely find an Annie at level 7, but you've started to cross that threshold where the 2 costs are becoming a lot less common. And so this is how you can get yourself in those situations where you're just waiting for that 1 key unit and you didn't pick it up, and you're forced to kind of not play what you're given in the shop. So this is a really risky play that, you know, if you statistically looked at it, it probably pays off on average, but it can backfire pretty quickly. So we'll see if that risk pays off.
I mean, do you think he's gonna roll after creeps, or do you think he's just gonna try to get to 8?
If I had to guess, I think he's going to try to get to 8, but I also think that's really risky. Nope, you were right.
Yeah, I think he's gonna roll here. I always have this
There it
problem
is.
where I don't stabilize on 7 because I get too greedy to try to get to 8.
So he found the Annie, but now he needs to find the Rumble, which is the next tricky part. But I suppose you can go down to like 20 and just try to make it happen.
20 would put him in a rough position, but yeah.
You kind of have to at this point. Another Ziggs too? Okay.
That's good, at least, because it gives him the ability to like move that rod off of the other Ziggs and keep Demolitionists.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he's got the QSS as well for Mech, which is pretty nice. So he's gonna have a good like Titan's Resolve, Trap Claw QSS, or actually, yeah, he might be able to put a different 3rd item on there. But
I think you're right though, with all the cyber players and stuff, that he'll end up with that 40% dodge mech that worked well last game.
Yeah.
This seems a bit like a what worked last game is going to work for me again, so I'm gonna run it back.
Oh, there's the Annie upgrade.
Any tube, but still no Rumble. A little bit rough. All right,
Here
Victor.
it comes.
Someday.
Yeah, this is really risky. We'll see.
Maybe you just...
Now he's like, do I kill my entire economy, or what am I doing? This is a tough call here.
Okay,
This
he
feels so bad.
doesn't have 4 infiltrators in anymore.
Yeah, just 3 infiltrators, 3 rebels. I mean, Annie is can be a little bit tanky. Oh, there's the Rumbles.
Yep.
And Kyun's board.
Again, big risk of playing a heavily contested comp is that sometimes it's not going to land in your camp. So he's at least got the health, but yeah, we'll see how long that lasts, because the player damage is going to start ramping up real fast here too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as soon as he finds that Rumble, he's going to get a lot stronger, but, how long is that going to take him at this point?
I wonder if we have a situation where, like, one player is missing Rumble. Oh, there it is.
There we go, yeah. All right, that's an enormous relief now for Sox to find that.
Yeah, so here we go.
Yep, gotta get the items on the mech, and all right, you can stick the Karma in there. It needs another sorcerer though. There we go. There's a Victor.
Yeah, he's got the victors.
Yeah, that's better.
To the victor goes the spoils.
Which one though? So many.
Yeah, level 4 mech, so it'll be a little weaker than he'd like, but hopefully if he can just find even a Fizz, that'll bump it up. So
yeah. But
Cottontail,
this is already much stronger than what he had before. Cottontail though.
Cottontail, you know, not running the Giant Slayer is going to have a harder time now. Especially this is also a dodge mech, so this Vane's going to take a long time to get through it.
Mm-hmm. It did do a lot of dodging, but looks like it's going to be enough. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems. Yeah, with the Victor 1 and only the Titan's Resolve, he's kind of lacking the damage right now. It's also, like I said, it's only the level 4 mech, which means its AD is fairly low. Because that AD scales up pretty quickly with each star level. So.
So what do you take here? If your socks, you probably want a belt from Morello's or the blue. Yeah, you can get the blue buff here, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah.
So you gonna get this tier? You could go Morello's as well. Yeah,
you can run the Morello's.
That's gonna be a higher priority, I guess, because you've already got a tier, and Morello's are just so important to get.
I do think the double blue, or getting the blue buff for that initial cast can be really strong, but Morello's is a good choice also. Plus, honestly, the HP is just good for survivability.
I think it was also because the Morello's was on a 4-cost unit, and the blue was on a 1-cost, and he needs to re-eco now, so it's a good way to try to make it back.
Great point.
So we got some Astro sniper action going for Robin Songs right now. Wow, that is a strong Teemo too.
Oh, there's
Teemo
another
also that is. Yeah. Oh, another one. Huh.
Every time I see a Dragon's Claw, I just know that player is not happy that they had to make it.
I'm gonna disagree, and I know it's not gonna be popular, but I think when you're running 4 Vanguard and you have a Dragon's Claw, that is a tanky champion, and that can often make or break a lot of fights.
Do you disagree that the player is definitely still not happy?
They prefer swords and bows, I'm not gonna lie.
Sure.
But like, yeah, like that Jace, if they get the 4 Vanguard going, is gonna be really tough to kill, so.
Yeah. Like, it's like, sometimes Dragon Claw is like that medicine that you don't want to take because it tastes terrible, but like, it's good for you.
Yeah.
So you take it anyway, and then you feel better, and you're like, all right, well, I guess I'm happy I took that.
Yeah, we saw Agon run this actually in that tournament he won, where he had the 3-star Mordekaiser with Dragon's Claw with the 4 and 6 Vanguard sometimes, and it was just an unkillable machine. So.
Right.
Did he end up winning that game? I saw a clip of the Mordekaiser 3.
I believe so. I don't remember.
So was that because in the final lobby he didn't win games, but I think that was
day
1.
Yeah, I don't remember. It might have been a second, but
yeah. I'm trying to remember now. I feel like no, that was day 1. Yeah, that was like one of the stories with day 1 with that tournament is that he had them Mord 3, because we interviewed him that day. We interviewed him both days, I think. But
yeah.
Oof.
The Teemo damage. Get distracted by the Shaco though before his front line can survive. It's gonna be.
That'll happen.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. They're coming for you, Teemo.
Yeah, I think.
No.
Oh my God!
Back.
Wait. No,
Teemo.
He's dead.
He's definitely not. Yeah.
Dude,
close.
I'm actually curious what. So when there's an infiltrator, it jumps onto Teemo, and Teemo will prioritize killing the whatever is closest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of self-peels a tiny bit because he has the CC on the shrooms.
Mm-hmm.
But would you say that infiltrators are a counter to Teemo, or that Teemo is good against infiltrators?
If I had to pick, I think that infiltrators are a counter to Teemo because they're preventing the AoE effect to the front line.
Yeah.
So like that Shaco taking 2 Teemo shrooms prevented so much damage to the front line. And so even though the Shaco didn't kill the Teemo, that extra time I think is just massive.
Yeah. Sometimes you see players try to like avoid the Teemo with their infiltrators because they don't want them to die right away, but it's the opposite. It's like you just said, where you want to just tie up that Teemo for a while and make sure the rest of your team or your mech doesn't get hit with the shrooms.
Yeah.
For sure. Jin 2, all right. Well, really wants that Teemo too, but I guess Jin 2 is better than nothing.
Yeah, I think the fact that someone else had the Teemo too is going to make that really hard here.
Yeah. There's another Teemo.
He is playing the Vanguards, so the Giant Slayers won't. Were there any stacked Giant Slayers in this lobby?
No, in fact, this time we had the opposite, where we had the Last Whisper.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
so the Vanguards are much worse, because Last Whisper does tear through 4 Vanguard pretty well. 6 Vanguard is where it kind of stops working, but ooh!
Oh, wow. All right. Well, that worked out.
The Zephyr Blitz from Holt. The classic Zephyr Blitz.
The oldest trick in the book. That's right. Pulled the Teemo right out of there. And you know, one thing I wanted to mention is Robin Songs, at least in this tournament anyway, seems to have kind of gravitated towards this Vanguard variant of that. He won game 2 yesterday with the 4 Vanguard variant of Astro Snipers, actually.
There he goes. He got the Teemo.
Yeah,
That's a big upgrade.
definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely the Vanguards definitely help you save a lot of HP, and in a tournament where all the players are so strong and aggressive, I think the Vanguards probably more often than not will be consistent.
Yep. The other thing I'll call out, and I know this is kind of an obvious one, but for some of our viewers, when you go with Teemo as your primary carry, having that Ionic Spark on your front line to make them take, the 40% less magic resist is also a big damage boost for the Teemo here. So that's another smart optimization that we're seeing by Robin here.
Yeah. And now that he's got this Teemo too, things should start looking pretty good. Yeah, Echo coming through, not doing a ton of damage though.
Ionic Spark is such a feel-good utility item. A lot of people, I feel like, definitely prioritize their carry items, but Ionic Spark is awesome.
Yeah.
You can build it in any comp.
Well, even after the nerf, I still find myself slamming that item pretty early in a lot of games.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, the item basically says everyone around is taking anywhere from 20 to 50% more damage. So, not to mention every time they cast, they also take extra damage. So, it's a lot of power on that item.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, okay.
Like to put the items on your Wukong. If you have like an Ionic Spark, do you like it on Wukong or on Gnar in an Astro Sniper comp?
If I had to pick between them, I would probably say the Gnar, only because anything I can do to make that Gnar survive so that he gets his cast off and that extra magic resist might be the difference.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think if you're going to play Gnar, then Gnar should be itemized. If you're not playing Gnar, then yeah, if you can itemize Wukong too, that seems really good. But it kind of depends, like we're talking about, what variation of Astro Sniper are you going to play? The 4 Vanguard or the classic version with Gnar as your third Astro, and then 2 Vanguard. Then you play a Blitzcrank as your other Chrono and your other brawler.
So I think is Kuram playing the 4 Sniper version right now?
Yes, Robin Songs is. Yeah.
No, Kuram.
No, I think Kuram is. Kuram's the one with the Gunblade Teemo.
Oh, right. I was thinking about Robin Song's board. Yeah.
The Gunblade Teemo I also think is an interesting optimization because he's going to get that full 400 HP shield pretty quickly. So it's not quite as damaging as a Jeweled Gauntlet, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah, the new shield from the Hex deck is really useful. I've been putting that on like a Jace, and he'll get the shield a lot of times.
Yeah.
It just lasts that much longer,
For sure.
All right, Kermex, we'll jump right to the other sniper. Yeah.
It's 2 Sniper.
Yep, 4 Vanguard, 2 Sniper for him. But look at those Jin items. If he can find a Jin too, that's going to be really strong.
Yeah. He's struggling a bit with that. But again, he's got that really strong Jace with the Dragon's Claw and 4 Vanguard, so that's going to be tough to kill. This feels like it's just going to come down to, does Teemo or Jin get jumped on by like the Mech splash damage or an Infiltrator?
Right.
Or actually, in this case, a Syndra one shot could be pretty rough.
Yeah, GV8 sticking with the Star Guardian plan, and he does have the Janna 2 already, actually.
Yeah, Kuram's positioning here was really good because he has the Teemo in front of the bigger group, in front of the Nico, so he's more likely to target that instead of the
I think that's it.
Yep, Kermex out in where did he go out? Was that actually 8th? It was out in 8th. That's rough.
I'll call out that GV8 showed the power of Nico there with the Warmogs and the GA. That is a hard to kill tank, probably one of the best tanks in the game right now. And so Teemo had to throw like 6, 7, 8 rounds of shrooms before it even got to the back line.
Yeah. And Kuram did position the way I think he should have with the Jin to take out the Soul Recon in the front line.
Yep. I think he was just overpowered at that point, and the lack of Jin 2 really, really hurt him.
Yeah.
So I'm board with Cottontail now, who's going for 6 Cybernetics. He already has the Thresh in for the Mana Reaver and the Chrono, so he seems to be in pretty good shape board-wise, but he has a 25 HP, so he doesn't have a lot of leeway yet to, keep going in this game.
So it's a Cyber Mirror match.
Yeah. Zephyr's big here.
Yeah, one of the big differences was the Blitzcrank, so that made a pretty big difference here for Polt's version.
Mm.
Who did he end up hooking?
I didn't see the first hook, but the second hook grabbed Vayne, so that was a pretty
Oh.
big deal.
That's interesting because you don't often run into Blitzcrank in this deep into the game if someone's playing Cybers, but it can be really good. I mean, Chrono is always good to kind of fit in your comp, and then being able to get that disruption.
I mean, it
Never
seems to be
bad.
paying off so far since he's in first in the lobby. But this is again
Oh,
a
yeah.
really close lobby at this point too.
Yep.
Yeah, just 37 HP for number 1 for Pult right now.
Yeah, this feels like this could be anyone's game, and this is where you start cursing the matchups, right? Because you might be able to beat 4 out of the 6 people left in the lobby, but you're just kind of hoping that on the rotation, it's not time for you to face one of those bad matchups.
So when you're in a game like this, Becca, and you've got a very, very close lobby, when you're doing scouting, like who are you trying to prepare for at this point?
I think you prepare for the matchup that you do worse against.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, if you're not already keeping track of who you might be facing based on your match history, I think you have to position for the person you think you'll do the worst against to try to minimize your damage taken. But if
Yeah.
you're keeping track of the opponents, then it's a little easier.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think that's especially true at stage 6, because if one bad fight could cost you 20 damage, and so you really got to make sure that those fights go your way.
Yeah, because you're one-shottable if you're playing your bad matchup.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you try to minimize there.
Yep.
Well, Cottontail on the
Oof.
verge of being eliminated here. Oh, that Urgot though
Nope.
manages to grab the victory. Oh no, he doesn't. Oh, he's okay.
Oh.
He's okay.
Yeah.
It was
I
close.
clenched. Yeah, I clenched.
So
So
Kiyun down
I was gonna
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna call out Sox and Kiyun, both sitting at 6 and 7 right now. So game not going their way, kind of holding hands a little bit.
This is Kiyun's kind of a game plan, though. It's a first and then some sort of low result. Yesterday was 8s. Today, I guess if it's 7th or 6th, that's a step in the right direction.
I was about to say improvement.
Yeah, that's progress.
Whew.
Well,
Interesting thing here is you seeing the redemption on the Vi as opposed to the Fiora. I know Fiora is sort of the common one,
mhm.
but it could just be that the items kind of landed that way.
Yeah, and with Vi jumping into the background like that, she'll oftentimes die at a pretty decent time as
Oof.
well. A little bit early this game, but can get okay.
Yeah, I think Fiora is such a solid one-cost unit. She delays. She's great with holding items.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Uh-oh. Vi take the wheel. Grand Vice, is he going to be able to get like one or two more alts?
There
That
it
could
is.
go-
There it
oh,
is.
all right. Oh, that
The
was
cards
super
are
close.
so close.
Yeah.
Wow, Pult out in
Whoa!
7th. So we took
went from 1st to 7th. Holy
Right?
moly!
we talked about just how insanely close this lobby is. I mean, if you look, there's still only 14
Wow.
points of
Wait,
HP
that is
between 1st
insane.
and 6th right now.
I can't believe he went from 1st win streaking to 7th. That's
Right?
wow.
Such a close lobby.
When you
Holy
mentioned
moly.
Pult's name, I thought you were gonna say that he's still in the lead.
Yeah,
He's out.
That is quite the turnaround.
that's what
Which-
you would have expected, but a couple bad matches
Yeah.
and you're out.
Mort called it.
Yeah.
The matchup RNG here.
Well, Robin versus Cottontail. Both players could definitely be eliminated this round.
I mean, I think we're going to see 3 people dead this round. So
Would not shock me. Looks like it's going to be a win for Cottontail. Robin Song's out.
Kiyun,
out
Robbins,
in
and Ubu.
6th. Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
Down to
Fox is
3
looking
players.
So good now. Top 3 after his second place finish.
Fully
Yeah.
half the players in the lobby just got knocked out.
So
yeah.
if Sox gets 2nd or 1st, he's in the points range.
That'd be huge. He was he the one who called it in 3 today?
No, that was GV8.
GV8. Oh, okay, all right.
That sounds like a GV8 call.
I was like, yeah, I couldn't remember who called that, but yeah,
I mean,
and even if Grand Vice gets 1st, he'll still only be at 14, so
Yeah.
he's still got a little bit of work to do.
Yeah, Sox has really got to be playing this matchup. This is a big deal for him because being able to save yourself a whole extra game at a shot at 1st place is massive.
Now, what do you think about the GA on Echo as opposed to the Shojins on your Aurelia 2?
Definitely the GA, because sometimes your Echo 1 just Pepegas a little bit and just doesn't get his ult off, but the GA helps him be a little more useful. And the Shojin on Aurelia is not really a big deal at all because she gains her ult mana back so quickly anyway.
True. All right.
So Sox had the disarm.
The Urgot 1-8 the Mech. That's huge. That could be devastating here. The Soraka comes in at just the right moment for Cottontail.
I think that's a Sox third.
Wait. GBA's gonna this here.
Oh, you will? Is that a double kill?
That's a double
kill.
Sox got second.
Oh my goodness.
Sox got second. That's huge.
Yep. So that means mismatched Sox now is going to be at 16 points. So all he needs is a first to win it.
Wow.
Wait, I'm getting chills.
Which again was crazy because we just he was at 6th 3 rounds ago.
Yeah. Wow. And Cottontail, he got the win in that game. He popped off. He was out of his chair in a moment.
Yeah.
Because that's big too to get 10 points for him as well.
Dude, because he saw him clenched. He was clenched the past 3 rounds. Every fight he was on the edge. So it must be such an adrenaline rush for him right now.
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy to see. And again, we saw a lot of cyber and mechs too. So it seems like they're again kind of a meta establishing with this particular tournament. So
yeah,
I hate to say it more, but that Dragon Claw definitely helped him against GBA.
Right? Right?
Are you a believer now? Are you going to be a Dragon Claw slammer from here on out?
I'm not going to slam any Dragon Claws, but I'll be a little less disappointed.
I still agree with you. You're not going to be happy with 2 cloaks, but I'm just saying use it to your advantage. That's all.
Yeah, I'll flaunt it.
Game-winning slam.
Next time I'll Mia ping my Dragon Claw and say GG.
Right. The claw chose me.
Claw difference.
Yeah.
So what's really awesome is that Sox and GV8 I feel like are widely known as the best players on NA. Like if you ask any of the top players, they're always in that list. So seeing them just pop off in tournaments makes me really happy. It's like they deserve all that's coming.
I gotta call out that regardless of what those standings said, that was a close game across the board. That was anyone's game.
Extremely.
All2 had 7th, for example, should be happy with that performance because it was so damn close.
Yeah, that's it's heartbreaking at the same time because you realize how close you were to a top 4 as well. But man, it's that was one of those games where it can shift so fast. We saw half of the lobby eliminated in 2 rounds, basically.
Yeah, 3 players out in the same round was pretty crazy.
Yep.
Lord, what's that your subtle way of talking about how well balanced this patch is and how much of a great job the dev team has done?
No, if anything, we are seeing a lot of the same comp. So I'm curious to see if anyone's gonna mix it up a bit, or if we're starting to see Mech Cyber kind of just be the meta. So
Mismatch Fox, he was Blade Master yesterday. Today he's just like me Mech apparently.
Yeah.
But he went bow first though in this game.
Yeah, that's what surprised me is he went bow first, but then started win streaking, and I wonder if that win streak changed it, or if it was the early fizz that changed it. So
let's take a look at the winning comp for Cottontail here. That was the Cybernetics comp, and of course another Vayne, another Giant Slayer, and so on and so forth, basically.
Yeah, a couple things here. There was the redemption on Vi, which again, redemption being key for Cyber. Pretty standard Vayne itemization. As Becca called out, the GA on Echo to make sure that cast goes off, because after the res it'll go off. And then the Zephyr on Fiora, allowing him to move that around as needed. So
it's so interesting because his items aren't really what you would think of as ideal.
It doesn't look like a first place comp, does it? When you just look at this board and you look at the items, you're like
the Gunblade on Thresh. But I mean, I think it comes down to positioning and then the matchups.
Exactly.
And the Dragon Claw Vayne.
I do think the Dragon Claw Vayne helped. I do think when it comes to items, this is actually a better than just triple Giant Slayer Vayne, because this allowed him to deal with the Astro snipers that had their vanguards, as well as the mech with the Giant Slayer. So this was a more universal itemization.
Makes
Definitely
sense.
was. Do you think he would have still built the IE if he had the chance to with the Endless Whisper?
I think IE would have been the better replacement as opposed to the Dragon's Claw, is what most people would expect. We saw that a lot in the top 4 tournament, where a lot of people were building that as the third item.
Yeah.
But again, I think the Dragon's Claw, like you said, made a difference here because the Victor ults
Mhm.
just didn't kill him. So
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at the results so far. 2 games down, question mark, games to go. But after 2 games, we have a total of 16 points for Mismatched Socks. And as you can see on the right side there, once you reach that 16-point threshold, then all you need is a first place to win the tournament. So theoretically, Socks could win the tournament in the next game. That said, if he doesn't, it looks like Kyun and Cottontail and maybe even Grand Vice have a good shot of making it up to 16 as well. So we could see this get really tight really fast, or we could just see Sox win it in the next round.
At this
yeah,
point, you're thinking some of these players don't want Sox to win, you know? So they might want to sabotage him a little bit. Like, say he's one away from a big upgrade, you just kind of keep the units.
yeah.
It's possible.
I think Sox has a really interesting dilemma here a little bit too with this format because remember the top 2 advance to the qualifiers. So
Mhm.
does he play a high risk like first or eighth kind of comp to try to seal the deal, or does he get a bunch of second and thirds to just be so far ahead in points that even if someone else wins the first place, he gets that guaranteed second place?
Wait,
He's got a big enough lead, so
we definitely know what he wants to do. He
I mean,
definitely wants to play some brothers that slash.
I
Definitely.
would
That
agree
is
with
that
that
first place
analysis. I would
counter.
agree. I would
hey,
agree.
he wants the blade, but the blade is not chosen him for the first game. We're going to take a quick break, guys. We'll see if Sox can find the blade within. And when we come back, we're going to see if Mismatched Sox can win it all, or if we keep going here on the Teamfight Tactics Galaxies OCENA Finals presented by Juke.gg. See you in a few.